Hello, Stuart Busby here. Welcome to my second video. I've just been messing about with my webcam settings because I don't know about you, but I think I look a bit pink. I don't normally look this pink. I look like I've been out in the sun for hours. It's very strange. And I downloaded this thing that I found on Google for advanced settings so that I could change the hue on my webcam. And I downloaded that and I changed the hue and I went a normal, natural looking colour. But it won't let me record using that. It's very strange. Perhaps some of you know a bit about webcams and settings on Windows 10 and you could give me a hand to try and sort out my settings. My camera is a Nulaxi. Is it a Nulaxi 900, I think. It's quite a modern camera. I treated myself to it a little while ago, but it's got this weird colour on it. So anyway, I digress. Hello, how are you? I thought I'd do a quick video of a couple of bits and pieces that I've had Beatles-wise over the last couple of days. First off, I found this in my local Tesco's last night, and it leapt off the shelf at me. So for anybody interested, this is from Mojo, and it's called the Beatles Essentials Collector's Series, and it's out now. So if you're a Beatles fan and you fancy getting hold of that, I'll put it up to the camera so that you can see it. There we go. This is really good little magazine, actually. If I show you some of the things in here, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, but there's a lot of stuff in here. It covers the studio albums and everything. It's got loads of pictures that I've not sort of seen before, and as with most Beatle geeks, I've seen a lot of Beatle photos over time, but there are photos in there that I've not seen before. It goes through all of their studio albums there. See Rubber Soul, goes right the way through all of those. Revolver, talks about the Beatles at Shea Stadium there. Then it goes on, of course, to Sgt. Pepper, the White Album, Magical Mystery Tour, loads and loads and loads and loads of things there, all about their albums, their studio albums, right up until Let It Be. But then it does what most of these things don't do, which it goes on to cover later things. So it goes on and it covers the Beatles 1 compilation, which of course gathers together all their number ones. It also talks about the Beatles in Mono Box Set, which is quite good. It also talks about the kind of special things within the anthology CDs. So the really special things that we all got excited about back on the anthology. So we've got Cry for a Shadow and Besame Mucho, the Abbey Road recording of Besame Mucho. It's talking about How Do You Do It and Leave My Kitten Alone, and the awful If You've Got Trouble Ringo song, which it describes as this was never released at the time, and it was written by John and Paul for Ringo, and even Ringo couldn't stand it. And the opening line of the review about If You've Got Trouble, which is on Anthology 2, the opening line is the only unmitigated disaster in the Lennon and McCartney catalogue, because it is diabolical. It's awful. If you haven't got Anthology 2, hunt it down. All the anthologies are great, of course, and the anthologies have been around a long time now. 1994 was it, or 95, I think, that the anthologies came out. I shall do videos over time about all of these things. This channel isn't just going to be about Beatles. I'll touch on things to do with radio and everything as well. And lots of other music and films and television and things. It'll be all sorts of a veritable cornucopia of nonsense I shall be talking, but predominantly Beatles. So I will be talking about the anthologies and all that sort of stuff over time as well. Then it talks about the US albums. It's got that there. And it talks about the Beatles 62 to 66 and 67 to 70 albums, the red and blue ones. Talks about the Past Masters, the Christmas records, the Love album. Just really good. Live at the Hollywood Bowl is spoken about there. The Live at the BBC recordings is also spoken about. And then it goes on very briefly to talk about their films, and various books that have been written about them over time. And, of course, most recently of all, Peter Jackson's Get Back, which, of course, we all enjoyed watching back in November. So that is a really, really, really good magazine. If you're into the Beatles, then pop down to your local W.H. Smith's or Tesco, which is where I found this. It was the only one on the shelf. I was up there. My daughter had a sleepover last night, and I took her and her friend up there to get something, crisps and things for them to nibble on whilst they were watching a film. And this was there on the shelf on its own, begging me to buy it. And who am I to not, to leave it there on its own? How could I do that? So it's really good. It's really good. So I shall enjoy reading that. So have a hunt out for that, and that's well worth it. The other thing I was going to do is it was my birthday about 2 weeks ago. I turned 50, and I had a lovely day, mainly because everybody who discovered that I turned 50 said I don't look 50. So that's quite nice. That's always nice to hear, isn't it? Of course it is. Of course it is. And I had a few bits and pieces of birthday money. People gave me some birthday money for my birthday, and I've treated myself to something which I've not yet opened. Now this arrived yesterday, look, and I can prove to you that I haven't opened it. Look, there it is. It's in its Amazon wrapping. It's not. Look, that has not been opened. I promise you, I have not opened that and then stuck it back together. It's not open. Now, so that was yesterday evening, and I thought I won't open it. I'm going to open it on camera. I'm going to do the opening on camera. So I think that was very, very restrained of myself to wait all this extra time before opening it. This is a treat to myself. This was my birthday money. I'm quite excited about this. If I'm completely honest, I am really excited about this because Paul McCartney, over time, has been releasing deluxe box set editions of his solo albums. I think they started back in 2010, something like that, I think, with Band on the Run, which many people consider to be his greatest album. Talking about what people consider to be Paul's greatest albums and things like that, that's one of the things that I'm working on. I'm making up notes at the moment, and I'm going to be doing my worst to best list of Paul McCartney albums, because I have them all, the good, the bad and the ugly, that I shall be doing. So that's something that's coming up soon. I shall be doing that. I'll be interested to see when I do that what you think is the best Paul McCartney album and things like that. But that's to come. But anyway, some of the videos that I have been watching on Amazon over the past few months have been people, lucky so-and-sos, who've got enough money to buy all of these box sets. I didn't know anything about these box sets when they first came out. 2010 is 12 years ago now, so it's quite a long time ago. I don't know how much they were when they first come out, but I should imagine they were a similar sort of price to the Beatles box sets when they've come out, and they've been around the £100 mark-ish, thereabouts. But of course, because it's now 10 years since Paul started releasing these, they've shot up in price. They're no longer available to buy new. Well, you can buy them new, but they're very rare. They're as rare as rocking horse poo, you might say. And some of these box sets will go for £300, £400, £500. Well, there's absolutely no way I can afford that kind of money. Absolutely no way. This box set, the one I've bought, is one of the lesser box sets. They're varying degrees of content in these box sets that Paul has done. Some of them are staggeringly amazing. I mean, just wonderful. There's a box set for Red Rose Speedway and also one for Ram, which is just chock-a-block full of stuff. Postcards, picture prints, posters, books, 3 or 4 DVD CDs, and then a DVD in them as well. And it's just wonderful, just wonderful. But alas, my finances don't go anywhere near that. However, I did see on Amazon the other day one of the lesser box sets, which doesn't actually have that much in it compared to the other ones. And I saw that it was on special offer and it had come down in price. And I thought, I've got birthday money, so I'm going to treat myself to it. So the big question is, which album is it? What album have I bought? So here we go. I'm excited. This is like Christmas all over again. So as I said, I have not opened it. Look, that has not been opened. I am opening it now. It's been here. The time at the moment, it's 10 minutes past 3 on Saturday. This arrived at about 6 o'clock on Friday night. So I've done very, very well, I think. Big pat on the back to myself for not having opened this previously. So what have we got? So there's the bag. Inside, it's a box. It's the Amazon box. So we open the Amazon box as well. See, look, proof that has not been opened. There's the little pull tab. See, I've not opened that so far. Could that not have come off in one go? There we go. Okay, it's the box. It's the big reveal. It is the moment you've all been waiting for with bated breath. Which album has Stuart bought himself? It's Pipes of Peace. 1983, was it, I think? Or 4? Let me see. It was 1983. Pipes of Peace. The previous year, Paul had sort of had a bit of a return to form when he had his Tug of War album. And I believe what Paul had been doing was he'd been just recording songs. Some of these songs date back to around the time that John was assassinated. John Lennon was murdered, right the way back to 1980. And he'd just been recording songs over a period of time until he had enough. And from those sessions, he first released the Tug of War album in 1982. And then he had enough songs left over that he then released another album the following year in 1983, and it was Pipes of Peace. Pipes of Peace was generally considered to be not as good as Tug of War, but it's still a good album. It's still a very good album. And of course it produced Paul's first and I think only solo #1. Paul has that wonderful achievement, doesn't he, in the Guinness Book of Records, as having been #1 as part of a charity sort of concept, you know, on a charity record. I believe that was Ferry Aid, Let It Be. That would have got to about #1 for the Zeebrugge ferry disaster back in 1987. So he's been #1 with that. He's been #1 as part of a quintet, the Beatles and Billy Preston, doing Get Back. Obviously, he's been #1 as part of a quartet with the Beatles. He's been #1 as part of a trio, which was Wings with Mull of Kintyre. #1 as part of a duo, which was Ebony and Ivory with Stevie Wonder. And finally, very early 1984, I think it was January 1984, that he got to #1 with his first solo and only solo #1, the title track from this album, Pipes of Peace. So great track. It's got a sticker on the front, which completists always want to hold on to the sticker. So once I've taken this shrink wrap off, I shall hold on to that sticker. But there, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that in focus or not. Oh, there you go. There you go. See? There you go. That's the sticker. I don't know if you can read that, whether that's in focus or not. Probably not. Now, this is the awkward bit, because you have to go into this shrink wrap wielding a knife. A knife. So you've always got to be very careful. So I am being careful. I'm going to slide the knife along the top like this. I have seen so many unboxing videos on YouTube over the last few months. And it's quite novel to be doing them myself. There won't be many unboxing videos, I have to say, because I'm not rich, so I don't get to buy this stuff all that often. It tends to be birthdays and Christmases. Last Christmas I had the Beatles Let It Be box set for Christmas. And a few years ago I had the Sgt. Pepper one and things like that. So it's as a rule, it's around Christmas time that I'll get these things. I will keep the label. So I'll just put this to one side there, and I'll keep the label. It's a nice looking box, very heavy. On the back, it has this slip case with all the information about what's contained within the CDs. So I'll just plonk that there a moment. It's got this cardboard backing. This is relatively inexpensive, this one. Weirdly, it went back up in price the very next day. I got this for just over 60 quid from Amazon, brand new. And the next day, it had gone up to over 80 again. So it's quite nice, quite nice. It's a very nice box. It's got sort of like that's sort of fabric along there. It's very nicely done, and it's numbered as well. My number is number 08168. Can you see that there? Or is that too bright? There's my number. That's the number. I don't know how many were made. And then inside this is the contents here. There's the box. So I just put the box there. And inside here, we have wondrous things. So here we go. And this first one here, these are... now this is interesting because these are prints, aren't they? Now who did this? Is it Vincent van Gogh? That is the Vincent van Gogh chair with the pipe on it. Very famous picture there. And on the original Paul album, they recreated the chair all with chromium. See there, all with chrome. And on the back is this looks like David Hockney's version of the Van Gogh chair. So that's quite nice. And this is a little folder with the CDs in it, and it opens up like that, and stuff falls out of it. So there's the remastered album on this one here, and then there's bonus audio here, and finally there's a bonus film which has got several music videos and behind the scenes footage on it and things like that. It's very nice. Very nice. It's nicely put together, things like that. And inside here, there's a download. You can download the 24-bit. Can you see that, or is the light shining on it too much? I think that, there we go. And you can download unlimited high-resolution audio versions of all 11 songs. There you go. And, of course, the good thing about that is that once I'm back on air, those 24-bit high-resolution download versions will be the ones that I'm able to play on air, so that's quite nice. You've got the other titles available in the archive collection: McCartney, Ram, Band on the Run, Venus and Mars, Wings at the Speed of Sound, Wings Over America, McCartney and Tug of War. They're all there. I'm just going to move this light a little bit because I believe that light might be being a bit harsh, and I'm trying to put things up close. There we go. None of which I can afford because they're all too expensive. Then we got two books in this. Now, those of you who remember the Pipes of Peace video, do you remember? Absolutely stunning video that Paul made for the Pipes of Peace song. And it was set during the Christmas Day truce. During the First World War, where the British and the German soldiers laid down their arms, met in no man's land, and played a game of football. And inside this box set is a book all about the making of that video. But quite possibly Paul's most impressive video ever. He played two parts in it. There he is in costume as the German soldier, looking quite a lot older than he normally does. There's a nice panoramic view. I seem to remember there being a bit of a hoo-ha about where this had been filmed and them leaving it in a bit of a mess. It was on some sort of heathland or something like that. No doubt I'll find out when I read the book. And that they got into a little bit of trouble because the filmmakers left it in a mess, and there were complaints about the state of the place. Here's the other part that Paul plays in the video. That's the British Tommy. There he is, and then that's in that photo there, and then in that photo that's the German one again. It's a very nice book. I shall enjoy nosing through this. I wonder if it says how much it cost to film that video. Back in the good old days when videos really did tell a story didn't they? And they would spend a lot of money on putting videos together and things. It must have run into the millions, I expect. But very good. Very, very, very good video. This is a nice shot there, you see. Must be quite fun to do things, don't you think? Even just to be an extra. Imagine being an extra, and you've been brought in to be an extra in Paul McCartney's video. But that's a good picture, because there, look, you can see just how vast a space they were using to recreate the First World War trenches. Incredible. So that's brilliant. That's really good. That's interesting as well, because at one point in the film, he meets himself. He shakes hands. I can't get this straight. Which way am I going? That way. That way. That way. That way. That way. See there. Now that is supposedly Paul shaking hands with himself, but obviously the German officer is the stand-in. So television trickery and stuff. So that's really nice. That's a really nice book. That's great. Here we go. So loads of it, and there's Linda and Paul there as well. Obviously during the filming. That's absolutely lovely. So that's nice. And then finally in this set, there's a book all about the recording of Pipes of Peace. And there you go, with the pan pipes on the front there. And this details, I'm assuming, this will detail all the recording sessions. It was Paul's second album, back with the Beatles producer, George Martin, of course. And there's George there. This will be with, I'm assuming that'll be with the choir that sang on Pipes of Peace, because there's a choir on it. I'm seeing this for the first time as well as you guys, so I shall have to read up about it. Let me see. It says, right, the Pestalozzi Children's Choir at Air London, 1982. Paul is in the middle with Stella McCartney, second from right, and in the second row. Back row includes Alan Crowder, Mary McCartney, Jeff Emerick, who of course was the Beatles engineer back in the 60s as well, George Martin, John Hamill and Trevor Jones. So this book features all the recording things about it. There's some pictures there that one of them, that top one there, that was used for the front cover of Paul's Pipes of Peace single, which I have around here somewhere. There's shots there from the video. I think that would have been the video for So Bad. I think that was the video for. And of course, there's Ringo. There's let me see. That's Paul there, obviously. Linda. Then there's Eric Stewart from 10cc, and then this one here is Ringo, of course. Loads and loads and loads of pictures in this. There's a great one there, all in black and white. That's a great one with Ringo with his kit. Can you see? There he is. Lovely. So this is kind of old news, really, for anybody who's massively into the Beatles and see these. What on earth is this? I've no idea what he's got on his head there. Is that a swimming cap? It must be a swimming cap. Why has it got those bubbles on it? Why do swimming caps have bubbles on them, if that's what that is? I don't swim, you see, so I wouldn't know these things. I got no idea. There's Ringo. Ringo's playing on the album quite a bit. And there he is at the drums. Let's see, Paul playing acoustic there and at the mixing desk. So this is really nice, and I am, genuinely really pleased with this, because it's probably the only Paul McCartney box set that I'm going to be able to afford, because it was the cheap one. Who knows? If I win the lottery, no, look, there's some famous faces. If I win the lottery one day, maybe I'll treat myself to the other ones. But right here, right now, I don't have the money. There's some famous faces here. Look, do you recognise these people? Look, that's Paul Weller in that photo there. Down in this one, I'm not sure who this guy is, but there's Ringo. And then there's Paul. But that's Chaz Hodges. Chaz and Dave, isn't it? Who we lost not all that long ago. And then in this bottom photo, if I'm not mistaken, that's Adam Ant. There. So, famous visitors to the studio, obviously, whilst he was making making the album. I believe some of the album was recorded at Abbey Road, but then other bits were recorded at Montserrat, which is George Martin's Air Studios in Montserrat. This is lovely. That's a nice photo there. George and Paul. Of course, George is no longer with us. There's always great debates online about who was the fifth Beatle. And it's interesting. I shall be doing a review of Mark Lewisham's tune-in book at some point. And the time and the effort that Brian Epstein put in to getting the Beatles a recording contract isn't often realised. You don't realise how hard he worked to get them a recording contract and how close they came to not having a recording contract. He nearly failed. So without Brian, they wouldn't have made it. They wouldn't have had the recording contract. So Brian is absolutely a contender for fifth Beatle. The reality, of course, is that there wasn't a fifth Beatle. There were four. That's the whole point. There is no fifth Beatle. But I think without Brian's help, they would never have had a recording contract in the first place. But what a producer to get, because they had a producer that knew when to stand back, knew when to let them do what they want, and just brilliant. And George Martin's contributions to their recordings and how they progressed. And also, I have to say, Geoff Emerick as well, because Geoff Emerick, a very young engineer at the time, in fact, I think when he started working with the Beatles, he himself was only 20, but really, really, really interested in experimentation and how to get new sounds and things like this, and do things that no other recording artist had done. And they were recording, things in a way that were inventing new sounds as they were going. They were inventing new sounds that these days are taken for granted, and they were invented by the Beatles. So George Martin's influence, huge, absolutely huge. There's a picture there of Paul with some gentleman. Absolutely no idea who that is. None at all. And look, there he is again, on a horse. Of course, big international hit was Say, Say, Say with Paul and Michael Jackson. And that is on this album, of course. Michael Jackson, of course, Paul gave Michael Jackson advice and said to Michael, I love the way Paul always tells this story. He does a Michael Jackson impression. He says to Michael, I tell you what, if you want to make your money work for you, get into music publishing. That's what you want to do. Buy songs, get into music publishing. And Michael looked Paul in the eye and went, I'm going to buy your songs. And he did. And Paul wasn't very pleased. So that was a friendship that fell by the wayside, wasn't it? So anyway, this is really nice. I wish I could show. Oh, hello. There's a great photo there. Two great photos, in fact. What? Look. Love the beard, Paul. And the eyeliner. Look at the eyeliner in that. Okay. So this is a lovely book. I'm chuffed to bits with that. I'm not going to show you it all, of course, but there's some great things in here, talking all about the videos and everything. And then this looks like things from the cover photo shoot for the album. Paul having fun there in the photographer's studio. So there we go. So that's and that, of course, was the album. The original album, which I have downstairs. I suppose I should go and get that, really, shouldn't I? I wonder if I could probably pause this video, run and get the album and come back. Shall I pause the video, run and get the album and come back? Okay, 3, 2, 1. And I'm back in the room. There's my original album. Christmas 1983, I assume, would have been when I got that. And it had a gatefold sleeve. So the gatefold sleeve opens up like that, you see. And there's the whole gatefold. I can line it up for you. There we go. And inside it's got Polaroid photos of everybody who recorded the album. I remember one of the things I really liked about this album was that inside, on the sleeve, on the label, on the one side it's got the chair. Can you see that? There we go, that chair. But what I really liked was the fact that on the other side it had the original, the very old Parlophone label. I loved that. I loved the fact that it had that really old Parlophone label on it. It's not wearing too badly, considering that is 38 years old now. Now that's scary, isn't it? To think that 1984 is 38 years ago. Wow. Amazing. So there you go. Just a little video to show off something that I'm really rather pleased with, that I've been able to buy with my birthday present, birthday money. And a quick reminder, there's that as well, which is out now, if you want to go and get that in WH Smith's or somewhere. Right, there you go. Okay, lovely speaking to you. I shall do more videos soon. I'm getting a bit out of breath now. I need to go and lie down in a darkened room. Have a great afternoon, and I'll see you again soon. I am new to this, so I completely forgot to tell you that you need to subscribe. So down here, down there, in that corner is a subscribe button. If you hit that subscribe button, a little bell will appear. Hit the bell, and then that will notify you whenever I'm doing new videos. Simple. Simple as that. Also, somewhere in my information is a link to my Patreon page. If you'd like to become a patron of this channel and subscribe to me so that I can do future videos, and the more subscription I get, the more content I'll be able to do. So that'll be really nice. So that'll be great as well. I'm intending to do a studio tour video at some point where I shall walk you around my studio and show you bits and pieces and how it all works. I'm going to be doing lists of my favourite Beatles albums and my favourite Paul McCartney albums and George and John and probably not Ringo. We love Ringo. We love Ringo. But Ringo does seem to release an album every week, so it's hard to keep up with them all. But not just Beatles either. There'll be all sorts of things that I'm going to be doing here. I'd like your suggestions. If you've got any suggestions for videos that you'd like me to cover, topics that you'd like me to cover, then pop them in the comments below, and I shall take all of that on board. We're going to have some fun, I think, hopefully, on this channel. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and remember, subscribe and the notifications.